Hey, Sean. The question I get more than any other is, what microphone should I buy? But then the question I get usually 2 days after that from almost everyone is, what else do I need to actually make this work, to actually get audio from the microphone into my project? And so there are 10 things that you have to have if you want to record audio and get it from your microphone into your camera properly or into your project properly. And so we're going to quickly walk through what these 10 things are so that you don't end up with a microphone and then a whole bunch of needs. So number one, you will need a microphone. In this video, I'm not walking through which microphone to buy. It depends a lot on what you're filming and where you're filming. The most common two are either a shotgun microphone or a pencil condenser microphone if you're filming more indoors and with places with a little bit more echo. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to keep to my little pencil condenser just because it's going to be easier. Now, before we go further, you can have a much simpler setup if you get an active electronic microphone like a Rode VideoMic Pro or the Deity VMic D3 Pro. There's a bunch of microphones that can plug directly into your camera, and with an extension cable, you can really use them as a boom pole that's not mounted on the camera. And that can be handy, but if you're really trying to step up and have good professional audio that's flexible, you're gonna need to be able to swap between microphones, and so you're not gonna be able to have an active electronic microphone for every application. So that's why I recommend going this route, and when people are serious about doing audio, get yourself what you'll need. Number two, an audio recorder. Now, an audio recorder is a huge advantage over recording directly into your camera for 3 reasons. One, most audio recorders output phantom power to your microphones, which your camera does not in most cases. Higher end cinema cameras, if you have an XLR port on them, they can output phantom, but double check. But if you have a Sony or a Canon mirrorless or DSLR camera, odds are it's not putting out phantom power. You'll need something that does that, and that's what these do. Number two, these also record in a much better quality than the internal sound cards in these cameras do. And because of that, you can record higher definition audio, you can record more dynamic range to your audio between the quiet parts and the loud parts. And you can have a whole lot more flexibility in your editing because of what they do or don't do to the processing. And you can get a better quality file to deal with later. But number three, what an audio recorder lets you do if you're not tethered to your camera is have a cleaner setup, because you don't need a cable running from your microphone directly to your camera, especially if you're walking around or following somebody. A sound recorder can mount directly on someone's belt or in a bag that they can wear, and then the microphone can go directly into that, and the sound person can be completely detached from the camera, which is safer because no one's tripping over anything, but it's also more convenient because you don't have to constantly work around trying to shoot around these cables and have things all over the place. So those are the 3 main reasons to get an audio recorder. Now, the third thing you'll need is an XLR cable to connect your microphone to the audio recorder. And these are pretty standard. Any XLR cable will work. When you're buying your first cable, I recommend a 10-foot cable, because in most cases that's plenty without being so much that it's just wound up all over the place. If you're running audio longer than that, be thoughtful about it and don't just say like, well, I want to have 30 feet just in case. XLR cables can lose a little bit of quality in the signal as it gets longer and longer, but a 10-foot cable is always going to be fine, and it's never really going to get in the way. And even if you're holding the microphone and it's going directly to the sound recorder on your belt, you can wind up 10 feet and it's not going to be too cumbersome. Number 4, you'll need some way of recording the audio. So either an SD card that goes into your audio recorder or whatever memory card it takes, or a TRS cable, which looks like a headphone cable, and you can connect this directly from your audio recorder into your camera so that even if you aren't recording locally, you can use the phantom power to power the microphone, but still run the audio into your camera directly, so it's already all synced with your footage and you don't have to fix it in post later on and find your video file and the audio file and make them match. However, if you do record to a memory card in your audio recorder that's different from the memory card in your camera, you'll want to make sure that every time you record anything, you start filming and start recording your audio, and then once that's happening, count 3, 2, 1 and clap. You're going to go 3, 2, 1, and make sure you clap in camera so that you can see it, because if your camera's internal microphone is too quiet to hear it, you're going to want to see when your hands connect, and that way when you're editing in post, you can sync up the 2 files automatically in some cases. A lot of software has a built-in sync feature that looks for these audio spikes from when you clap at the beginnings of your files, and it'll make sure that your audio is playing at the same time that it should be relative to the footage. Fifth, and this really can't be overlooked, but it's an easy one to overlook, is headphones. Even if you have everything plugged in properly and you see the bars bouncing, if you don't take the time to just double check to make sure that the audio sounds good, you're going to experience some big problems, because sometimes there can be a signal that actually looks like waveforms to your recorder, but because of a lack of phantom power or sometimes a glitch or crossed wire or a shorting cable, it won't actually be good audio. It could be chopping, it could be nothing. It could be so quiet, but there's still an electrical signal that's tricking this into thinking. So always monitor your audio. And you want to hear, is there background noise? Should you move the mic? Sometimes when I'm recording people who have jewelry on, like watches or bracelets, as they're talking, the microphone's essentially pointing directly at them. And if you're not listening for that in the headphones, you could miss it and get back and try to edit this, and turns out you've got jingle jangle happening the entire time. So bring a pair of headphones. Earbuds will work in a pinch, but having a decent set of headphones will go a long way to really making sure that you've got good audio recorded at the source before you even get back to your edit bay. So now with this setup, we know how to get our sound from the microphone through a cable into the recorder, monitored and recorded properly. But the next thing we need to do is position this where it's getting good sound. And there's a bunch of stands that you could use, which are sort of all-in-one solutions. Right now I'm using a C-stand to hold this Deity VMic D3 Pro above my head. But the problem with the C-stand is A, they're expensive, B, they're super heavy, and C, they only have about a 3.5 foot throw on them. So this is the furthest that I can extend it toward myself, which works with this lens, but it's not a flexible setup. If I were recording someone in a seated interview, it would really change where I could frame my subject, because I'd have a stand in the shot as soon as the camera is more than 3 feet away from them on either side. And it can end up, because it's so short, blocking lights and things like that. So what I recommend is getting a boom pole. I have a Rode boom pole. I have 2 Rode boom poles. K-Tech is a company that makes like the industry standard boom pole. And some of the K-Tech boom poles have an XLR cable that's wound on the inside of it. So you can just plug in a little cable into your audio recorder at the bottom of it and not have a cable draped along your boom pole. I personally don't go that route, just because if anything happens to that cable, then it's shorted out. It's in the middle of your pole and you can't really do much about it. So I usually keep my boom pole and my cable separate, but get yourself a boom pole. Number 7, in order to connect your microphone to the boom pole, you'll need some sort of clamp. Now they make these rubberized shock mounts, which are really, really cool, because a lot of the microphones come with a plastic clip, a hard plastic clip that will work. But anytime you move or you shuffle, any vibration that you put into this boom pole as you hold it is going to transfer directly to the diaphragm of the microphone, and you're going to hear that. That's going to cause interference in your audio. And so having one of these rubberized shock mounts, make sure that your mic is actually suspended in this little cradle of rubber. And that way, a lot of the vibrations that may hit the shock mount are absorbed by that rubber before it's gonna vibrate the microphone and the microphone's diaphragm. So a shock mount is what you're gonna need to connect your microphone to the boom pole. And the other handy part about going this way instead of an all-in-one stand is that with this alone and connecting the microphone cable to your recorder, you can walk around now and run sound. And you can, like we said, put your recorder on your belt or in a bag that you carry with you, and you can be completely detached from the camera crew, and you can walk along somebody and get audio, and it's going to record perfectly into your pocket, and you're going to have great results. And you can't do that if you use sort of an all-in-one stand. But if you know you're never going to move, you're just setting something up in your home office, go for the all-in-one stand, because it's going to be cheaper. It's just not as flexible. And most of the time, the people that are investing in these better microphones are looking for something that's going to be more flexible, more versatile, and that's why I recommend getting an independent boom pole. But once you have your boom pole and your shock mount, you're going to need to mount this to a stand. And so number 8 is a stand. Almost any stand will do. Obviously, there's a spectrum of a beefier, heavier stand is going to hold more. It's going to hold it with more stability, but it's going to be heavier. It's going to be more to carry. This is sort of a medium weight Manfrotto aluminum light stand that I'm going to use. But you're going to need a good stand. And after you have your stand, number 9, you're going to need one of these. I don't even really know what they're called. It's like a boom clamp arm thing. But what this does is your boom mic is going to rest in this. So that way it's actually held up and you can position it, which means that the 10th piece of gear you'll need is a grip head that will connect your clamp here onto your light stand. So a grip head has 2 parts to it. One is a part that actually connects to your stand. And the other is this part that sort of clamps down. There's a few channels through it, so you can find the one that fits your clamp here. And once you get the clamp cinched into the grip head, you're able to take your boom and just slide it in, and its own weight is going to hold it in this cradle. And then you can use the adjustments on the stand, on the boom pole, or even on your grip head to adjust the angle and distance and length and position of the microphone. And once this is all together, all wired in, again, you can connect this directly into your camera, or you can record just into the audio recorder and sync it up later in post. But these are the 10 things that you need to actually have sound if you're going to be doing video production and you want to be able to mic people. This is the way to go. And you'll need to multiply these things by 2 or 3 if you want to have more microphones. You can record multiple microphones into most audio recorders. The F6 can record 6 separate XLR inputs. So I can plug 6 microphones into this and record simultaneously. But obviously I will need 6 mics, 6 cables, 6 boom poles, 6 stands, 6 clamps, and 6 everything. So take a look at what you're filming, where you're going to be filming, decide what microphone's best for you. I made a video about why shotgun microphones aren't always the best choice when many people think, oh, I need a good shotgun microphone. And in a lot of cases, a shotgun microphone will give you really muddy audio, and a shorter pencil condenser microphone is a much better choice. So find out what microphone's best for you, but make sure you have the gear that you need to actually record well, monitor it, and get it into your signal and get it into your project. If you have any questions at all, throw them in the comments. I'm always happy to help. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.